Hey guys, this is Twisted Limits here for you today, and today I'm going to be showing you guys the Derringer RDA. This is probably one of the coolest little RDAs I've ever seen, and emphasis on little. The thing is tiny as hell. I mean, compared to a Tobe, that thing's short. It's half the height. Now, my only problem with this, and I'm going to say only because it pretty much is, this top cap, for mine at least, is plastic. Now, I've heard that these normally come with metal top caps, so my recommendation is if you go out and decide to buy one of these, get a metal top cap, because my problem is I keep getting a lot of plastic taste coming off of it, and especially for myself, I build real low, so with this, if I build low the way that I normally do, I'll probably melt this cap immediately. I've been using it for a couple days now, and it hasn't melted at all, but that's also because right now all I'm running is a 6-wrap 22 gauge dual coil. It's nothing special, nothing heavy. It's probably one of the lighter coils I ever run, and it's not getting hot enough to melt it, luckily. So what I'm going to talk to you today about with it is how it works. This thing, for its size and what it looks like, it outperforms a lot of RDAs that I've used in the past. Now, the reason why I say that is because it is so small that you wouldn't expect you to be able to put any big wire in it or anything like that. But I didn't have to sleeper this build. I fit 22 gauge wire in there, 2 coils, perfectly fine. 2 strands of 22 gauge went right through those center posts. Now, they're not the biggest center posts in the world, but they can fit 2 strands of 22. 20 is probably pushing it. You might be able to, but I'm not entirely sure. You probably would have to sleeper 20 gauge. Now, I'll show you how this thing goes. And right now, I'm not using Max VG juice. This is Cutwood Boss Reserve. It is, as I believe, a 70-30 or, well, yeah, probably 70-30 blend is what I'm thinking. It's not too thick, so it's not thick enough to be 80-20, and I know it's not 90-10. So I believe it's about a 70-30 blend, and, I mean, this thing's putting out pretty well, especially for how it is. Now, this thing's kind of deceiving. The Derringer, since it's so small, you wouldn't think that it has a juice well at all. But it has a juice well pretty much as deep as the Little Boy RDA, if not deeper. This thing has a massive juice well. You can put a lot of juice in here without any worries. I normally do about 6 drops in my Tobe or in my CLT2, stuff like that. I normally do about 6 drops. On this, I can put 10 drops in it without a worry. Now, you might be wondering how you would build on something like this, because as you can see, it has that guard going up along it, and no real way to get down to those coils, but that guard pops off as well. What you're left with is 3 posts with grub screws in them. Now, personally, I hate grub screws. I can't stand them. They strip out too easy, they're too easy to lose, and honestly, they're just not very much fun, especially trying to use a hex key with them. It's just not a good time. But for the Derringer, since it's so small, you need them. If you try to run Phillips head screws or flat head screws in it, you're going to short it out on the metal top cap if you do have a metal one. And if it's plastic, those metal screws are going to get so hot that it's just going to immediately melt that. Plus, with the center screw being that high, it'll probably close off half your airflow coming out of that top cap. It's just not going to be a fun time. So the grub screws are necessary on here. And honestly, with how fast this thing ramps up and with how nice it hits, I like the grub screws on this. You'll probably never hear me say that about any other grub screws ever again. Just letting you know. And again, this is 6-wrap 22 gauge wire, Canthal, and look how fast this thing just lights up. Just immediate. There's very little ramp up time, and with how much vapor it's thrown out of it, it's shocking. It really is. I don't understand how it can be that much vapor just from a 6-wrap 22 gauge, but it does it. The problem is, though, because you can't put a chuff cap on here or anything else, and all you have is that wide bore tip there, it's hard to take up everything in it. You have to hit it so hard to pull up what you want out of it. And the problem with that is you're going to get a bunch of juice in your mouth. So I don't know how I feel about that, but honestly, this is a good everyday vaping RDA. If this thing had a metal top cap, I'd probably use it all day, every day. It's wonderful. I love it. So on this, the posts there are silver or steel on the sides and one copper post there on the front. And I like that because that center post being copper allows to get much better conductivity, and because the pin on the bottom making connection with the mod is copper as well, it has almost no ramp up time, as you saw. I mean, because of all that copper, it just lights right up. Now, the airflow on it is actually pretty cool. On the top cap itself, you have two nice cyclopses going through there, which to me says that they encourage you to bore this thing out. They might not, but it'd be pretty easy to drill out cyclopses in this, because what you come stock with are 3 2mm holes on each side, and then on one side of it, see just the one side, it has 3 more 2mm holes for a single coil, which I'm glad it does that, because though I might not run flavor builds too much, but when I do, having something with no dead space like this and being so close to that, you can get one hell of a nice flavor build out of it. So I really do enjoy having the fact that I can have a flavor build for this with the correct amount of airflow for it. So, once again, I will show you how hard it is to actually get out all that vapor off of it. And it is pretty hard. So, whenever you hit it, you can't just hit it like a normal one. Like, granted, you do get a good bit, but it's nothing impressive. So, to show you how hard you actually do have to hit it, I will do so. That's how hard you got to hit it. You're kind of stressing out your lungs and your throat trying to do it. It kind of makes you feel like you're trying to do a comp while trying to blow just a bigger sized cloud out of this. So the airflow isn't my favorite because of that wide bore top cap on it. Now, if you had the option to put a chuff, or if it came stock with a chuff on it, I would love that. If you could buy another head to throw a chuff on here, I would love that. But so far, I haven't found that. And that's not too surprising because they're brand new. Now, if you're wondering what the price is on these, I picked mine up for about $23, $24. So they're really not that expensive. Then again, mine has that plastic cap on it, and that might be why it's so cheap. I was honestly expecting to walk in and get it for about $30, but that it was so cheap, I'm not really going to complain about the top cap being plastic. Now, because of that, I am getting a little bit of plasticky taste, but it's not that bad. It's not something that I'm not going to vape it because of that. It's not too predominant, especially when you're using the cutwood juice or a custardy juice or something with a deeper, darker flavor. It pretty much masks it, so you don't really notice it that much. So that's about all I got for you today. And actually, I'm going to show you that copper pin on the bottom as well, so you can see that. And it is adjustable, fully adjustable pin on the bottom there. It's a pretty nice little RDA. I can't complain about it too much. I like it a lot. But that's all I got for you guys today. So have a nice day. And remember, vapes are definitely the better way.